Good afternoon. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. Someone on the Twitter sphere sent me this, and it made me laugh. So, while I get my chart up of the S&P, I want everyone to think about what today is, so you can guess what day it is. So listen while I get it up.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is?
You can go to the chart, Freddie.
It is. Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's Hump Day.
Woo-hoo!
Ronnie, how happy are folks who save hundreds of dollars with?
Anyway, that commercial always brings a smile. So here's a chart of the S&P. It feels like a Friday, not a Wednesday, but it is only Wednesday. Yesterday you had Janet Yellen come out and basically, let the doves fly. You had a nice wide range bar, took out this pivot, held above Thursday's low, closed above the weekly high, and then, today you had a little bit of follow through. We're a little off the highs. Don't think it's the end of the world, but as we extend into bigger resistance, you're definitely going to see a little bit more skittishness. So with that being said, I feel like yesterday was an easier day to be long with your day one into the gap up. And then today you have some mixed signals, so you might want to be a little lighter. I know I came in today with 5 longs, just thinking that I was a little spread out, and by the time the first hour rolled around, I was out of most of them. Then, just traded. And tonight I'm actually flat. Not because I think the market's going to crash, like people are calling for out there, but lots of stocks that I trade have gone a long way using my day count. A lot of them have been on day 3 of a new move, some day 4, day 5. Some just beginning, but just kind of felt like it's been a very consistent week. It's been a good few days. Tomorrow is the end of the month/quarter. Don't know if there's going to be shenanigans, so I'm going to take it easy, so I have everything booked. If you look across the board, you look at the XLE. XLE still not acting special. You have your double bottom yesterday. It opened up and came in a little bit, so you are seeing some weakness still in the XLE, but it's still not the end of the world. Oil did open up and went red, so a small sign, that you have to be a little careful if the USOs break this, this low from yesterday, which is 963 at 38. It could bring in a little bit more weakness. So if you want to take a closer look here, these are the, kind of the negative aspects of the trade. A little bit of a reversal into the 8-day, and the 8-day is curled down. The XLF, the banks tried to rally, and it also gave a bit of a topping tail. It's still above this support, but again, opened up, closed near the lows, against resistance, something that, could breed a little skepticism. And lastly, the IWM, also, I don't think this really holds any merit. You had a big move through this resistance. It took out this 2-day support, 2-day pivot. So this isn't the end of the world. So with that said, some small, things to consider. I was long a lot of different high beta type names. Apple was awesome. It engulfed yesterday, went up to 110. I sold it into 110, and it still looks fine. But for me, I've listed this many times. First time I listed it, it was here when it broke above 98, and then when it held here. Remember, I put the chart on and I was long, and then Morgan Stanley came out with a nice upgrade, and then it went sideways. Yesterday was your day to be long some size. Today went up, tagged the 200-day, and came off a little bit. So we'll see, how long it stays above that gap. If you look at the chart, still, not the best chart out there, but it's had a nice move, and this was your gap down way back when. Here's when it broke this ascending channel here, went below the 200-day. So now the first rally up, usually you pause, and then we see if it holds, and then blasts above. I was also in Netflix, tweeted that I get out at 104, just because I was in it from 101 to 104. Figured I would wait. It kind of came back and retested this spot. Hopefully it holds this. Netflix tends to get a little erratic or not that streaky as of late. So for me, I figured, if we got it on this day, add it on this day. That's what I do. I buy day 1, add day 2, sell into an up open. It couldn't hold yesterday's high, so that was my sell signal, and now we'll see if it goes sideways to continue. The 200-day is still above it. It's still kind of a broken name considering look where the highs are. This is where Netflix is. So you got to just take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. Google still looks good. It came off those highs though. yesterday, if you got long into this red dog reversal, you always trim and trail into some strength. Has a little bit of a topping tail, so right there, that would have gotten me out of some. So if you're flat tonight in wait and see mode, I think that's better. Amazon also went to, I said 606 would be resistance. Where to go to? Went to, I was a little off 603. So here going across, you have your spot. Yesterday was your time to buy versus support. Time to add was through the resistance, and now into this you sell some and wait and see. Tesla tried to get above a little spot here and couldn't. Remember we talked about this little wedge here with this being one spot and this being the support spot. Well, it opened up and sold off right away, so that was a little bit of a sell signal. 11 o'clock tomorrow, they're introducing their new model. We'll see how those orders go, or etc. So, I wouldn't be long this, but being shorted could be tricky. Last time it had to close on lows like this, it opened down in reverse. So we'll see what happens here tomorrow. What else is going on here? In spandex land, LULU had a nice gap up on earnings and held it. So now see if it goes sideways above this. Talking about retail, UA, some guys are in it still. This is looking good. This chart pattern to me looks as if it's ready to go. I actually should be long this now that I see it like this. I talked about buying it, I think, here. It came back in, and now it looks like it's ready to take out this area and continue. Looks like a lot of guys are talking about Nike also. Nike has a decent setup. Came in. Doesn't look as technically sound or strong as UA, but looks okay. So maybe you'll see something here moving forward. Some guys are talking about SHAK. I talked about it in the morning call on your yesterday. Said you had a day one. Okay, well, you had your day two, and then it looked good until CMG came out with news and might have a burger joint, but we'll see. Where this stock came from. The stock came from all the way, up here. So just a little something to do. Still very broken. We'll see what happens, tomorrow there for some of you. Gold, a little surprising how quickly it got hit. It filled this gap yesterday from above this 3-day range into here and kind of trapped everybody. So I'd be very careful here with gold. Now looking, it's getting like erratic and getting random, and when that happens, typically that's not a good sign, so it could see lower prices. It was very fluid during this point all the way up into this stretch, and then since here it's been kind of hard to figure out. This was your last good trade where it broke out, opened up, and gave you a topping tail, and since then hasn't gone above it. But still in this channel, you want to draw a channel here, draw a channel, but it's in the lower end, so it could be vulnerable as the 50-day comes up. Bonds got hit pretty hard. In the morning call, I said it's going to have to hold this, 130.10 in order to show some commitment to the breaking of this. But I guess some people are saying it's still as long as it's above here, bonds are still okay. So that's where that's where it came off of. To me, it's a little wishy-washy, but we'll see. That's really it. X. I sold it today just because I was in selling mode, but still looks good. Talked yesterday about buying it at 1580, add at 16. It did go as high as 1676, up 3%. Right now the indices are only up 1%. I gave you a 3% play in a day. So if you're still in it, still looks good. If you sold it today around 1630, 1640 when I did, you still made 2% on a play. That's what we try and do. We look for 1 to 3%. Still looks good here as it's trending higher. You look at the bigger picture here. 18ish is doable, maybe even a little bit higher. So if you're there, stay there. And it's Wednesday, hump day. It feels like it's been a long week already. It's been a long quarter. They said so goes January, so goes the year. So if you got out of everything in the bottom or late January into February, and the TV made you do it. You actually did it. The TV didn't do it. Just turn your TV off next time, because typically, guys get very loud and bearish at the bottom. The same way now, people are starting to turn the corner, and we've just had a 250 handle rally. Do I think second quarter is going to be great? I don't know. All I know is that you've had an elevator up, elevator down. They push things lower than people would have thought, and now they push things higher than they would have thought, and that's the world we live in with the HFT right now. So you want to make sure that you know your price points, you have your adjustment areas, because for ideas to get triggered by the market, sometimes it takes longer than you thought, and sometimes you might not be able to stay as solvent until the market's ready to confirm your thesis. So you're better off with a plan, A, B, and C, see which one the market confirms, go with it, book some money, net it. That's how you make money every month, every quarter, and you could have a career. And that's about it. See you tomorrow. Have a good night.